A rideshare becomes a ride-or-die share in Amber Alert. Written, produced, and directed by Carrie Belesa. Also written by Joshua Orem, who edited the movie. Check out the respective IMDb pages for the full listings of their work. And it stars Hayden Panettiere, who is one of the nine executive producers, along with 5 other producers, more on that in a bit, as Jack. Short for Jaqueline. Thank you very much to my best friend Chris, aka the Durbinator. I will never be able to hear Jacqueline the same way again. She is trying to get a ride to a particular place, and she just so happens to get another rideshare after her other rideshare takes off. He doesn't even wait for the 8-minute rule. He's like, nope, gotta go. Whee! I don't think you can drive like that, but it's more humorous than what happens in this movie. So she happens upon Shane. Tyler James Williams, you may recognize him from a few projects like Dear White People, and he's also been in some television. And he was done doing ride sharing, and he was going to go spend some time with his son. And we find out a few more tidbits about these particular characters, but they're just going to drive, and they're going to drive like, they've never driven before, because they just so happen to receive an Amber Alert in a movie called Amber Alert. Surely you jest. But yes, they get an Amber Alert, and that Amber Alert just so happens to coincide with them seeing a car that matches the description of the Amber Alert. And they decide, we're going to solve this mystery before this little girl's life is history. Amber Alert tales, woohoo! So, yeah, in case you are not familiar with the work of Carrie and Joshua, they did a 2012 version of this that actually starred one of the producers, Summer Belesa. Yeah, talk about fucking nepotism right here. I do remember seeing the 2012 Amber Alert. I didn't like it. Even though the idea of an Amber Alert and, helping rescue children that are kidnapped, no child should ever have to go through that. No individual should ever have to go through that. It is a great thing. The problem is making a movie around that particular deal can be a bit challenging. And when the 2012 one wasn't any good, attaching Hayden Panettiere's name along with, of course, Tyler James Williams, attaching their names to it and basically having 9 executive producers and 5 producers, I guess everybody chipped in $50 and just said, hey, we're going to mention Toyota Camrys a few times. Maybe we'll get some goddamn, dealership sponsorship thing, because look, this movie wasn't meant to be all that great. In fact, it does look like it was made on the lower end of the budgetary scale, but that's not the worst thing in the world if you have life and energy and a little bit of tension. The problem is none of these people actually feel like anything other than cardboard cutout characters. Also, this is painfully stretched out. It ends at around the 83-minute mark and we get about 7 minutes of credits, but that is a punishing length of 83 minutes when they have enough material for maybe 40. Like, honestly, some scenes are stretched out. There are a few little tidbits that we find out about our characters, including one thing that nobody should ever have to go through. But this is really fucking bad. This is really, really putrid. There's some god-awful writing. The performances, look, the cast do what they can, but the material is just nigh. The end is nigh, the end is nigh, the end is nigh. It's not a horror movie. Yes, it's horrifying the children get kidnapped, but this movie just feels manufactured. It just feels stagey. And also, the third act is incredibly fucking goofy. And it's not even, something where you can root for the heroes or root against the villain. I mean, you can't root for or against anybody. It is just really, really cardboard cutout, putrid schlop. That's all it is. And I know schlop is actually how you say it, but schlop just sounds like more of an insult because it's just a burgoo of bullshit. Kind of fitting considering this takes place in Kentucky and they know all about their burgoo. So, yeah, there are pursuits. There's the police talking to them as they are trying to get closer. Yeah, there's a little ingenuity from Jaqueline's character. I'm sorry, I can't help it. As far as trying to track this particular person. And also, I'm sorry, but the man that ends up kidnapping this girl, he's so obviously evil and he's not good at lying that nobody would fucking believe it. Except these 2 fucking dipshits when they eventually run into him. And yeah, there's not a lot to spoil in this movie, but I will get to it in a bit. This is getting a very limited theatrical release, to the point that there's actually one theater in Seattle, 40 or so miles from me, that is playing it. And I was like, you know what? Okay, maybe I could. No, wait, I don't want to drive to Seattle on a Friday. Oh, it's available on Amazon for about $7 or $8. So I rented it. So I'm not going to pirate a movie no matter how bad I think it's going to be. I'm going to throw a few bucks towards, the filmmakers, or I'm going to catch it on a streaming service that I pay for. I'm not going to pirate the shit. That's just not how I am. But this is really goddamn shit. Really, really bad. Hayden Panettiere, after being in Scream 4 and Scream 6, I don't know what she's fucking doing. Maybe this felt like a personal project to her, but this felt more like a vanity project. We're like, hey, the 2012 one wasn't all that great. I'm sorry, it just fucking wasn't. The characters were super annoying. The characters are just super annoying and super stupid in this one. And yes, any mother, any parent would want to get their child back. And again, no child should have to go through that stuff. And I get it. But I'm sorry, to make a horror movie out of that and to make it this bad, you really just have to phone it the fuck in. Which is ironic because half of the goddamn lines are phoned in. Literally over phones. So, yeah, that's really all I have to say right there, though. There is one funny line, Phil. I know about these things. We've got an Amber Alert in a movie called Amber Alert. God, that's just hilarious. 3, 2, 1, spoilers. Okay, so, yeah. Jaqueline, unfortunately, did suffer a stillborn birth. No child should ever, no child, that was wrong. No parent should ever have to go through that, especially no mother. You carry a human life and grow it inside of you for that long. You should be able to raise it, and that's terrible. It's terrible for any mother to go through that. I know a couple of people that have. Now, that line might have hit a little bit more if it didn't feel so forced. Shane was going to go see his son, spend some time with his son. I do have to say his ex, by the way, is a raging goddamn bitch. The character, at least I don't know about the actress. And yeah, the girl gets kidnapped because the parents are just not paying attention. And yes, I know that's usually how it is. I turned my back for 2 seconds. Well, no, these parents were just playing around on a phone. Well, it was the grandmother and the mother while another kid was there. I guess that other kid was more important while another kid played hide and seek. And, oh yes, also the man, Aaron, I believe his name was, he had a doll in there that was like a way to entice the kid to get in. Even though that doll gave the Annabelle doll a run for its money as far as creepy. So, yeah, she gets in the rideshare thing. They're just going along. And then they get the Amber Alert. They decide to pursue him. They drive, chase him down to a gas station. He doesn't get gas. These cars apparently just have tanks like goddamn, I don't know, like, forever tanks because nobody gets gas in it. And there's quite a bit of driving. But she throws her earbud in the car, and they're going to pursue. Shane was going to leave, but then decides, oh, you left your blazer here. You said that. Oh, wait, shit. Let me come back and continue this meager plot. So they drive. They run through a red light. The state highways. Oh, boy, state highways. So goddamn fun. We have them here. They're dog shit. But, yeah, they pretend to have car trouble. Aaron is like, well, come meet my daughter, Olympia. I'm just going to make up a name. Clearly, I'm not evil. He is. He's going to go to a place in Tennessee to visit an aunt, except he's not. Then they get another Amber Alert, and the license plate doesn't match. But it's because he called in the Amber Alert with that, and they talk to the 911 operator, CC, yeah. I have to say the actress playing CC does the best that she can. Also, the Sergeant was played by Kevin Dunn. No, not that one, WWE. There is, WWE fans, there is no Bucky Beavertooth motherfucker playing a Sergeant. And, yeah, they talk about their stuff, their respective things. I mentioned the stillborn death. Very unfortunate. Again, no mother should have to go through that. And also Shane wanting to spend more time with his kid. And then they're pursuing him. And it's so funny before we find out about this. He shoves the doll out, and then the doll gets wrecked, as the kids say. But then they stop, and they're like trying to find out. Monica, which is Hulk Hogan's favorite name to say, especially drawn out, think about it, says, I know what you've been doing. Please save my daughter, because the police apparently are rooted to their goddamn chairs. They don't do anything. We never see the police actually doing anything, by the way, until the very end, because I guess they couldn't afford it. And I'm sorry, I know that small productions are fine as far as horror, but please, fucking please. So, they find his lair, they track, on his phone, Shane pretends to be a pharmacy worker to get him out of the goddamn house, but it turns out he actually already went to the pharmacy, and now he just found a way to lure them there. They go through all this stuff. There's all these shoes, all this thing. It's like all these earmarks of this guy would just have this stuff there. And yeah, the house is out in the woods. I get it. But it's so goofy. It's so ridiculous. They eventually, separate because you got to keep people separated. Hey. Shane gets a gun. She finds her in a cage. They rescue her from a goddamn cage. But then he gets in a bit of a gunfight with the man, Aaron. And then Aaron ends up finding them in this, room that was shown in this photo album, Olympia, of this girl that was tortured. Could have been his daughter, probably wasn't his goddamn daughter, someone else's daughter, but whatever the fuck, it doesn't matter, it's fine. It's not, but you get what I'm saying. We're getting at least to the end of the movie, but this is a painfully drawn out third act. It's like 30 minutes and 20 minutes, and you could have skipped 15 of it and not missed shit. So, she gets shot once in the arm, the bullet grazes her or goes through whatever, and she gets shot in the shoulder, so it looks like she's done for. But then Sergeant Casey suddenly shows up because he said, I'm going to go out there and do something. Because he's the only one that can get out of his chair. And I guess she's fine. She's getting taken care of. The mother, is reunited with her daughter. And, yeah. There you go. And then we get text about the Amber Alert saving children's lives, which, yes, every child should be able to grow old and happy. And no child should have to go through that. No parent should have to wonder what happened to their child. Keep an eye on your children. And, watch the skies. I think that's how that phrase goes. But this is a terrible movie. 100% terrible. F. Gets an F. And, again, paying a few bucks to rent a movie, I think at least gives a viewer a right to be upset. If you pirate something, I mean, I'm sorry, but that's something that I have an issue with that because people do work hard on these movies. Even if they don't seem to actually put a ton of effort in, still some effort went in. And then if you don't like what the filmmakers do, don't watch any more of their shit. But this is terrible. This is basically just a little bit bigger budgeted version of the 2012 movie that, again, was really shit. So yeah, F. Agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rethlin. I'll see you soon.